Control. The Matrix built to keep us under control in order to change a human being into this.
And give away our power to people who have all the opportunity in the world to take advantage and do these things. And that's what I'm saying about what is humanity. Okay, it's supposed to be mankind, right? Let's look this up. Let's look it up. Let's find out. One, two, humanity. The human race, human being collectively. Um, humaneness, benevolence. He praised them for their standards on humanity, care, and dignity. Okay, what's benevolence? Just let's benevolence, the quality of being well-meaning, kindness. Well-meaning kindness. Okay, benevolence. Okay, let's go back. Humanity. So, in other words, humane, having to show compassion, benevolence. So that's basically is for the most part, people are not humane, or because for the most part, people just want to live their life, especially these days. Especially these days. Back in the day, when people needed to depend on each other more, when we lived further apart, we had these big plots of land and we worked them and all of these things. Yeah, maybe. Or when we was more tribal and we had to defend against animals and other tribes attack and all of these things, maybe. But today, with the world as civilized as it is today, people don't care. For the most part, people don't give two shits. That's why you see small sector of society like these SJWs out here can create such an uproar. Because if people gave a fuck, they wouldn't stand by and watch these things happen. They wouldn't watch these things take place. It's one thing to support people in when something happens or something's wrong, but to watch things get turned upside down and say absolutely nothing is ridiculous. And so that's what I've been witnessing and been experiencing with hold on, let me see what I got here. Oh, so I'm surprised the sound didn't pop off earlier than that. So yeah, let's stop this share. So yeah, humanity. What is humanity? Humanity is just the whole idea of humanity is basically just another system of controlling how people speak or how people think. Like we said, we just looked up the words, right? Humanity and humane and benevolence, and that's all about being kind and all of this. Okay, but mankind is just we still primitive at this primitive beings we've always been. We still judge people on strength, and no matter what people say, that's why this women's movement is not going to be able to work, because they can't demonstrate the same abilities that a man can. So these same judgments still are important to today. You see, um, they say that men display a level of misogyny or toxic masculinity, but that toxic masculinity, what they deem toxic, is a way of judging the next man. It's all that primal gauging of your enemy, your enemies or your potential enemy. This is all why the handshake is an important. It was an important thing in all everyday life. The the strength of a man was determined by the look in his eye. When you address somebody, you're supposed to look directly in a man's eye, right? Or whoever you're discussing, he doesn't you're talking to. You're supposed to look them in the eye, and if you're given a handshake, you're supposed to look them in the eye and give a strong, firm handshake. This is all determining the strength of your potential enemy or ally. You don't want a weak ally. So if somebody delicately shakes your hand, you can judge this person. Nowadays with the the illy ill running around and that everything's changing, people have stopped worrying about these things because I had a police officer come to my home one day and I shook his hand to thank him, one of the officers, and he was this small, slight, frail looking individual. And he shook my hand like a woman would. He basically just used the tips of his fingers and very gently like shook my hand. This I would very quickly determine to be a weak individual and a person who would be quick to jump to pull a trigger on somebody unjustly. So again, humanity is still just the same as we've always been. We still judge in the same ways, even if we don't understand what we are doing. Back in the day, we understood. We knew exactly why we did things. But today, humanity or society judges humanity by how kind you can be. And all of this kindness is killing us because it's making us soft, it's making us weak, it's making us lower our standards to meet the weakest among us instead of lifting the weakest up to meet the strongest, and therefore making society stronger on the whole. But society and humanity is, like I said, a system of control meant to control how you think, how manipulate how you think, just like every other system of control. It puts this idea in your head that you're supposed to act in this gentle, kind manner, and whoever acts alter to this manner is against the grain or bad or evil or whatever the determination dictates at the particular time. No, strength is strength, power is power. That's why those who run the planet, they don't care about all of this nonsense. They reap the benefits of all of this feminism and all these particular ideologies that they know only limits the small man. It doesn't limit the powerful one. The powerful one only benefits from the weak man's kindness and benevolence because he takes advantage of that every time. So humanity is just another system of control meant to dictate how the populace thinks. And when those of power come out of there, they understand that it's just a gateway, another trap to keep you held back. Because there's so many different rules and these systems of control put out there that it's bound. One of these hurdles is bound to trip you up. That's what the intentions are. If it's not school, if it's not the law, if it's not your own, if it's not religion, or if it's not uh, all of these things or your idea of what your parents' teachings, all of these things sets you up. Is these all of these things are hurdles to hold you back in a way, to help keep you acting in the way that society deems correct, or basically keeping you in a position of submission, always looking for somebody else's approval to move forward or to gain any type of uh, higher standing in life, because that's what it all is about. Because they know that you can't have everything in this world. Everything is not set up here for you to just walk through, because they know that there's not enough to go around. There's millions of people in the United States. Everybody can't be a millionaire, you know? Everybody can't be on top. Everybody won't. And in watching this show about this Avery guy, what's his name? Stephen Avery. It shows you, if you're unintelligent, if you're not bright, you're not quick to pick up on things, you will easy prey for anybody, not just law enforcement, who set these guys up horribly. They set this guy up time and time again. And then people judge, is this humane? Is that humanity? For someone to ruin someone's life time and time again, and in the process of trying again to ruin someone's life for no real apparent reason, but besides the point that they just don't like you, and they're willing to do whatever they can to lock you away, so that you can't. You ever see? Have you watched this Making a Murderer? This Stephen Avery story? It's how can someone willingly take away someone's life like that for no apparent reason besides the fact that you think that they're stupid or whatever. Yo, what's going on, Chris? How you feeling? How you been? How you doing, man? Yeah, man. So I don't understand, man. How do people think that humanity is just another buzzword? It means nothing. It's something to put out there as a hurdle for people to keep the weak-minded in check. The strong people are always going to rise above, no matter what. So when you have a society set up in this hierarchical system, which is always that way, even in nature, there's always a hierarchy to every grouping. People fall in where they fit in. They get in where they fit in. So yeah, and so there's always this hierarchical setup, no matter what society. No, there's never equality. Is never, because there's always going to be somebody who's weaker than you are, or there's always somebody who's going to be stronger than you. So either mentally, physically, whatever. So these setups are what make society what it is. And this cry for equality, no, there can never be true equality, especially amongst uh certain individuals, because their whole identity is set up on being weak. They're weak, and they want you to accept them in this weak form and include them and say that they're on your level. So how can you be weak and be strong? I always say, how can you be right and wrong at the same time? And a lot of people try to do that. And I noticed that a lot of people want to be weak but strong at the same time. You can't have it both ways. If you're weak, you're weak. You have to either make an exception of that and get in where you fit in, or you make changes and try to improve yourself, try to become stronger, try to improve your mindset. And that's why I started this whole thing, because I've started noticing a lot of things. That's why at the end I always do my little uh, uh, my outer space thing where we go out of space, and because I've noticed a lot of lies that people willingly accept. And I'm gonna do some more. I last week we did some robot shit that I never saw. I found another one even better. We're gonna do that one, and if we have some time, we're gonna go back to outer space. And next week we'll get back to the outer space stuff. But yeah, so I started noticing the things, especially when you start writing. When you're a writer, you creating these comic book type stories, and the types of stories that I like. Because I tell you, let me give you. I've grown up watching uh, the Golden Voyage of Sinbad, the Seventh Voyage of Sinbad, Jason and the Argonauts, Hercules, all of these Greek tales, and Ten Commandments, these great, magnificent tales and stories, Samson and Delilah, and all of these fantastic stories, and then the Blob. And so I have a broad spectrum of likes and dislikes. The Thing from outer space, them, the Atomic Age, the so I have this broad spectrum of I grew up in the cowboy age, military movies, um old gangster stuff from like James Cagney and all of that. I'm an older gentleman, so I have a broad spectrum of the things that I like, because there's things that came up with Lord of the Rings. I grew up with stuff like that. I grew up with animated things that came out in the 80s and then the 90s. So the anime thing hit me in the 90s, and I went nuts over anime. So I had all of these things in my mind. And so when I started drawing and writing in my 18, when I was getting my 18, I started writing my first story, my Stone God story. So that was a fantasy story because I had seen Dune and this anime called Legend of Crystania. I had seen Fire and Ice, Frank Frazetta, Ralph Bakshi. So my point is, all of these things came together, and so I started seeing things in the world that kind of mimicked things that I saw in that's supposed to be fake, real, not real, just fantasy. And then you start watching shows, because when I'm trying to write, I'm trying to look for historical things that I could add into my stories to make them sound and feel more realistic. So when I get to the stories that's more closer to home, my spy stories and assassin stories and stuff like that, you start hearing all of these things, like the movies, like the where the Eagles Dare and the Boys from Brazil, where the Nazis are trying to create this new Hitler of the new age by cloning. And so all of these stories start making my brain tick. And you hear all of these things in the real news stories about spy things, or things that go wrong in the law, or some kind of espionage, or some things that happen, and then the terrorism and all of these things. So it makes me think, what if all of this stuff is just bullshit? What if all of this is just bullshit? And I watch nature shows and outer space shows, and in nature shows, I watch monkeys run around doing the same things we do over something shiny. The one most powerful one will grab it, and he'll gain control of it, and he'll force the others to bow to him, and basically bend the knee, just because he's acting so irate over this new shiny object that was thrown in with them, amongst them, and the strongest amongst them takes control of it. But the only thing is that we don't have the strongest amongst us doing this. It's the weaker amongst us. They just know how to work the system. So the strongest now has to bow. It's just like back in ancient Rome and Greece. Those senators and uh, these people who ran the country, they wasn't in control of the armies. It was the generals and the powerful men who had the control of the armies. But because they wasn't smart like these so-called politicians, they subjugated themselves to the politicians because it was beneficial to them to work with them in some way. So I seen that maybe things are not necessarily what we think them to be. We want them to be a certain way, but we're just primitive beings living in this fake world that we've built around ourselves. And that's why I say that's why I've been bringing up this whole thing about the Matrix, because I've seen the Matrix and it just clicked to me. I love, that's one of my favorite trilogies. So it clicks to me that we live in a fake reality. And that's oxymoron to say that, a fake reality. Uh, but it is. Most of the things that we deem as so important today are just ideas that we made up. Humanity being one of them. The idea of being humane is ridiculous in many ways because we have to kill in order to survive. This is part of no matter what. Because we pass it on to somebody else to do the job for us doesn't mean that we're not responsible. And this is what I'm saying. It doesn't make any sense. We try to say that we're something special, but all we are weak individuals afraid of being in jeopardy. So we've imprisoned ourselves to made up ideologies so that we can say we're important. No, you can see the government is not important. Nothing that we are doing, we're just bowing to them. We've given them our power, but there's nothing there. Maybe at one point they were important for helping, but now that we have the weapons that we have, we don't need the government in the same way that we needed them back in the day. Police, we never needed, and before slavery was abolished, there was no police force. So why all of a sudden, once slaves are freed, all of a sudden now you need a police force? That tells you that a police force was specifically put out there in order to hold down a specific sect of society, and that's I'm not going to get into that because we'll talk about that at another time, but next week when we do the law, but or the week after that we'll do police, or maybe we'll merge them together. So yeah, humanity is just another thing that people use so that we can control the next person. Oh, you're not a humane individual. You're not this, you're not that. Or this is humanity. We're supposed to be gentle and giving and warm. No, we still kill. We still kill. We kill. Even plants kill. If you go out into the wild where you have no help from society's norms like medicine and all of that, you can just step on a thorn, put your hand against a tree and get stabbed by a thorn and get infected and die. Everything, even plant life, is trying to kill you in the wild. And that's where we come from. That's what society come. That's what people come from. But we take it. We remove. We beat back all of those dangers. We've killed off all of those dangers to the point to where now we're dictating. We've become so weak, so well moisturized. And that's weakness. We become so well moisturized. The humidity's starting to get high in the room. So, um, so we've become so well moisturized that people are so weak that we start handing our power, because you don't lose. We just don't lose power. Somebody takes it. Most of the time, people give it away, and we let our fear determine that. Fear in fear and the slaves are gonna get loose and want to take back. So let's create this police system in order, and in doing that, we created a system that also polices the poor of those who you don't like. And if you look at this making a murderer, or this making a murderer about this Stephen Avery, you'll see what I'm talking about, because this dude's a white dude, and this guy's being stalked and hunted by the police. Stalked and hunted by the police, served 18 years, gets out, and because he's suing them, the police determined that everything that they did, even though they knew that there was another dude, they was hunting this dude. They had surveillance on this other dude, but because they wanted this guy locked up, they let this rapist run free, rape another person, while they locked this man up, even though people in the police department knew he was innocent. But they locked him up. He served 18 years, even 8 years previous to when he got out. Another police department called the police department and said that we have a man in custody who says that you have somebody in prison who are doing the time for a crime that this man committed. And they covered it up. And the whole system backed the police department up, so that they were deemed with doing nothing wrong, even though the investigators said everything that they did was wrong. So this is what I'm saying. How could this be humane, to go after, ruin a man for 18 years, take 18 years of his life, let a guilty man go free to rape again, all because they didn't like him and his family, because they determined he was too low grade? If they would do that to some white dude, what would they do in a bigger city? This is a small city where they easily found the mistakes, because there's not crimes like that done often. So it was easy to find the holes and the leaks where these people just totally just didn't care. They just wanted to lock this dude away. And then, if you ask me, they came back after him because he sued them. He got out. The commission or whatever said that the police didn't do anything wrong, so he couldn't get any money. So some of the governors and everything got together, and they were saying, hey, we should do something for him. Let's give him 400 grand. And then the police department came after him again. And to me, the way it looked, and I know it's wrong to say, but it looked like the police was all behind the whole thing. A murder took place. A woman disappeared, and I think the police are behind the whole thing, because it's just too convenient. It's way too convenient. The woman was on the man's property. They hate this man. The woman was on his, she dealt with him regularly. Then all of a sudden she disappears. Her car is on his property because he had a wrecking salvage and he has this big ass lot, huge lot for his cars, his junk cars. But he has a crusher on there and there's nobody crushing. He doesn't crush the car, but he supposedly murdered the woman. So it, to me, it just seems like the police was behind the whole thing. And I only seen 5 episodes. I'm gonna watch some more of it, but I'm like, it doesn't make any sense to me. How could this be humanity? How could this be humane that people, we give away our power to people in such a way that they could take advantage of us, that in this way, and we deem this to be good. We back up the police at every turn. But if this could happen in any small, if any town, and it does, then why do we allow it? Why do we accept it? All because of fear? All because we're afraid what's gonna happen to us? Now, if we was back in the day in control of our own safety, then we wouldn't be so afraid. But we give up our power at every turn. That's why I started the Power Matrix, or before that it was Power Time, and because I still say that power is within you, the individual. Power has nothing to do with money, because all of this is is fabricated make believe. Gold has no value besides what we've put on it. Diamonds have no value besides what we've put on it. Diamonds just a rock. Uh, Gold is just a piece of metal, and money is just wood pulp. So if we keep doing this, and I showed these robots from last week. Right? About how these robots were taking a whooping. I'm gonna get back into that a little bit. But what they show with these robots, right? Maybe I should just start it early. No, I'm gonna wait. But waiting for the hour is up. Another 15 minutes. So what these robots were doing was taking a beating from the men around them. The men were they were showing that these robots can walk around and do things, right? And like regular humans, they could walk on 2 feet, jump, spin around, flips, do somersaults, all of these things like regular man could do. And this particular robot they're beating it, they're hitting it, knocking him over, and he's getting up and he's throwing a ball or a box back and forth to people. And that's what his whole thing is, to catch the box and throw it back. And he's catching it and throwing it back, catching it and throwing it back. And these other two are hitting him with a hockey stick and knocking him over and disrupting his movement. I assumed at first was to show you, and if you see the Matrix Doctrine from last week, I left the description in the video. I left the I left the link for the video in the description, and you could see it. These robots, this robot was catching a whooping, and then all of a sudden he spun around and started fucking them up. He started fucking up the humans who was hitting them and beating them and knocking them over. He just started doing some martial arts and just spinning back kicks and all of this shit and fucked them up. And then I'm gonna show you another one later on in a few minutes. But what happens to humanity then in the future when these things are the police force, and they no longer have to worry if they're gonna get injured, because they can take a whooping. They was firing weapons into these things' chests, and it was just keep coming. So now you got a police force. That's what's coming. That's why they're making these things for military, police, and and to take all of your jobs. That's what I kept saying the whole time watching this. All of these robots they got coming in. What's gonna happen when they start implementing? They're gonna say they said it's only for the high risk jobs, the hard to reach jobs, like in which jobs are that? In volcanoes? How many jobs are that are there? You know, in these rough and rugged areas. It doesn't matter. All of these jobs are going to start going. All of these so-called union jobs, yeah, those. Guess what happens when you don't need humans? So you don't need a union. They're showing these robots packing boxes. Well, not really packing, but they're moving boxes from side to side, putting them here, putting them there. You see, Amazon ain't gonna need your ass no more. Amazon ain't gonna need you. What happens to humanity then when you're all broke because there are no jobs? They're all going to robots because it's gonna cost them a lot less. It's going to cost major companies a lot less to maintain a fleet of robots than to pay a salary to a fleet of people and medical and all of this other stuff. So we worrying, you got people worrying about Social Security and all of these things. What happens then? You're talking about Social Security running out and pensions and all of this stuff. What happens when there's no more jobs for your behind because they're all going to these robots? What happens to humanity then when you're literally a slave? Because that's what's coming. That's what's coming. Slavery. Because you're not going to have no money. There's no money going to be coming in for your ass when these companies start paying robots or buying robots. Same shit. Because they're going to be able to pay them a lot less. They buy a fleet of them. All it's going to cost is to maintain them. The people that it costs to keep them things running. That's it. That's all it's going to cost. And the parts. And then what's going to happen to humanity? What's going to happen to being humane when we don't have access to food supplies, when we don't have access to money, when we have to be begging the government for everything because no corporation is going to want to hire anyone because unless you're a higher up skilled uh, worker that's absolutely necessity. If you have nimble fingered robots who can uh, put thread through needles, these types of robots can do any job, even electricians. They showed a robot actually putting um, putting up sheetrock. And you're going to tell me where you're going to be putting up sheetrock that's hazardous. That they need this type of robot for. No, they're gonna be taking your jobs. How did they say that in South Park? They're gonna take my job. That's what they're gonna be doing. And that's why I don't understand people. I really don't. We keep falling back into this because they give us some video games, they give us some bullshit ass movies, especially these days. They give us these bullshit ass movies with these bullshit ass moisturized men in it today, telling you that the companies are telling you how to live, they're telling you how to act, they're telling you they're not asking. Back when I was a kid, if a company put that type of crap out, they would cease to exist because nobody would buy their shit no more. But today we depend on the Disneys of the world, the Warner Brothers, and we kiss their ass. We literally suck their dicks for their product. You see them? Yeah, I'll watch Disney if they put out a decent Star Wars. They already shat on to play video games, to be the first to get them out the gate, even though they're giving you garbage. The same garbage that they've been putting out since the PlayStation 2. All been doing is giving you better graphics, but we still keep throwing our money at them instead of just saying, fuck y'all. Start coming out with the good games. Y'all was supposed to be bringing out better games years ago. Y'all said they wasn't going to be coming out with no more systems, but now they coming out with more systems. The PlayStation 3 or PlayStation 4 was supposed to be the last one. They said, we don't need to be doing no more graphics. All we need to do is give you better gameplay. And what have they been doing? They've been giving you shit because they see that you buy it. You pay up front. You give them here. Take my money, please. that's like Rodney Dangerfield. Take my wife. Yeah, man. We don't care. We don't care. We willing slaves. We're willing slaves. And this is what humanity is. Kindness. We gotta be kind. We have to be nice. We have to be the goody goodies. We have to do the right thing. And what do we get for it? The government takes our money and spend it frivolously until everything prices are going through the roof. Everything is going through the roof. And one way or another, we got to pay for it. Not them. They're not going to lose a dime. Not going to lose a dime, but we're going to save that for the government when we do that system of control. When we're doing that system of control, that's when we're going to do that one. Because I'm telling you, we really, really don't keep hold. We don't think about our own individual power. We give up our individual power when it comes to movies. We used to buy movies and keep our own copies. Now we giving that all back to the corporations. we don't make the corporations do what they supposed to do. We don't. We say, hey, take my money. You keep control of the movies. So what if you're gonna buy up all of the movies and make us pay time and time again to see the same movie over and over again when we used to buy it and put it on our shelf and we can watch it whenever we want, how we want, how many times we want, but not no more, because we need to we need to oh buddy, yeah, we need to be able to sit back on our asses and just let y'all do everything for us. So being that I don't want to take up space on my wall or anything like that, we're gonna let the company take it, and they could change the product to some crap whenever they want to. They can alter the product whenever they want to. They can take it down whenever they want to, and we have to kiss their butts for it and keep paying for the privilege, or we can keep our own physical copies or something to that nature. No, we don't do that. Let's give it back. Even though before the when was it? 1980s when VHS came out? When the VHS come out? Let me see. VHS. Origins. then VHS. I didn't say Star Wars. What the fuck? VHS origin. When was it invented? In the late 70s. It was in the late 70s when let's take a look at that. Might as well let y'all see it too, right? Let's get, you don't want to just see my funny looking face. Wee-how! Okay. VHS. See, it says here, released the first VHS machine in Japan, late 76, 77. 77 is when, in the mid 77 is when United States got one. Sony's Betamax competed with VHS throughout the 70s into the 80s with videotape format war. Well, we won't need to see that. But that's when we first got to own. We first got to own our own. And now we just saying, fuck it. We don't want it. Let them take it. And we'll just keep paying. We'll just keep paying to stream it because we like it better that way. So I don't have an ownership of my own. That's how it is. People don't want that power. People don't want power. They give it away at every turn. And that's what the way of the world. That's the way of the world. Our weakness, our fear, we make excuses. I remember when video games, that's humanity today. I remember when video games gave you almost everything. You could build your own. I remember when the first Far Cry, or was it the first or the second Far Cry? They gave you your own build what do they call it? One of those sandbox. You was able to build your own sandbox arena where you can go online and put it up to do your what is it called when you all y'all King of the Hill or whatever that. Anyway, we used to be able to go in there and make your own, and then go in there and fight online in there, make your obstacles and barriers and all of these things, and you be able to fight in on your own homemade arena or whatever it was. If it was out in the jungle or whatever, you had power to make it whatever, however you wanted. Plus, they gave you the online. Plus, they gave you the offline campaign, and they tried to give you the best of all of it. Now, they half-ass the campaigns. They half-ass everything. They make you pay for everything. So they're giving you nothing for something. You got to keep paying, and they're giving you the same old bullshit that you've been playing year after year. They just put a new coat on it. That's all. But it's the same shit that we've been playing since PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3. When PlayStation 2 is when the San Andreas 3 came out. Yeah. So PlayStation 2. Same game. Ain't doing nothing better. It's the same ass game. So if humanity can we're not moving forward. We're staying stagnant. And we're even moving backwards with this whole feminism crap. So what is humanity? What is humanity? Besides people telling each other what they can and can't do. For what reason, I don't know. When freedom is supposed to be the object. But in our society, freedom's not the object. It's sell. You see them Oh, I should have had that. I should have had that. I got to get that. The Eddie Murphy training places. Get back in there and sell, sell, sell. That's all it's about. How much they can sell you. And they don't care about your life or any of that. You're not important. You're nothing but a number. And your job is to buy. That's your only purpose. And that includes the medical profession. I showed you on here. I think well, maybe not on here, but I showed you on one of my power streams. I know I showed you um the whole thing about let's show you these robots. It's time. It's time for the robots. But I've showed you about this forever chemicals. Forever chemicals are in everything, and they don't care because they know that these chemicals are making you sick, but that just helps the medical profession. So just like they have the military industrial complex, they got the medical they got the medical industrial complex because you being sick helps. Why do you think they are so much trying to help fat people stay fat during this COVID thing by forcing you to get injections? Because fat people are the majority of the people who are suffering. 90%. Let's see if I can find that video before we move to the robots. Let me see if I can find that. 90%. 90% COVID, obese. 90%. 90% COVID death, obese. Here we go. Here it is right here. There it is right there. Here it is. We saw this one before. Let me get past this advertisement, and then we'll pop it up so that you can see it again. See it again. See it again. You're gonna say it. Play it again. 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 Okay, we got it on pause. Let's get some sound, and let me come back over her, and we're gonna show y'all. Now, if this is true that 90% of the deaths are due to obesity, right? People who are out of shape, severely out of shape, that means that they're forcing us to get jabbed for people who are purposefully not willing to help themselves. Because we've been saying it for how long? Remember when they put the how much calories is in fast food restaurant menus and all of that stuff, and now you don't see them talking anything about that. They've been putting bacon murder burgers together and all of that, and they don't care because they want you to be fat. You being unhealthy is a big boom to the medical. So that's humanity. That's humanity. That's the state of humanity. That's being humane, not giving a fuck about you because you're nothing but a dollar sign. Remember, again, before we go to this, remember, I showed this at the beginning and I'm going to show it to you again.
Control. The Matrix built to keep us under control in order to change a human being into this.
Believe it or not, if you're not disconnected from the Matrix, you're a possible agent. I'm telling you. If you're still connected, I'm not connected, man. I'm Morpheus. What's his name? Just some guy. He did videos way back, maybe a year and a half ago. And he said that the average person thinks that they're Morpheus or Neo, but they're actually Cypher, the dude who betrayed them to go back into the Matrix, the bald-headed cat. Well, I am Morpheus. I'm not Neo because I'm looking for the Neo. I am Morpheus, though. I am bringing y'all the light that you are living in this fake world, man. And if you're still connected to it, if you so willing to believe that the laws are just, that you're just not imprisoning yourself, that we need money, that we need gold and diamonds, that we need to live where we're perpetually always at war with each other because the government is set up to war with each other. The Democrats and the Republicans, they're not meant to work together. They're always meant to fight. And that, therefore, ergo, means that the nation is designed to war against itself so that nothing really gets done besides the rich keep getting rich and you keep sucking ass. So here, we're going to show you this. Here we got to click the sound and we're going to hit this star and then let's go over her like this.
Severe cases of COVID-19 around the world. A study by the World Obesity Federation finds almost 90% of COVID deaths are from countries with high rates of obesity. Foreign correspondent Maggie Rulli joins us from London with more on this. Maggie.
Now, I have to say that this was done back in March of this year, this video. But still, it's been going on for longer than a year. So if they've been saying this in March, ain't nothing changed from March to now.
How was this study done, and what exactly did they find?
Hey, Diane. Yeah, the findings here are really incredible. The study took a look at obesity rates and mortality, and they adjusted for things like age and how countries are reporting their COVID deaths. So this really was a look specifically at obesity and whether or not it correlated with mortality and deaths from COVID. And again, those findings you just mentioned, they are staggering. About 90% of deaths from COVID-19 were found in countries that had high rates of obesity. Those are the types of findings that you really cannot ignore, Diane.
And Maggie, I know you spoke with one of the researchers who worked on this study. What did she say about the implications of these findings?
Yeah, Dan, we spoke with the lead researchers, and it was fascinating because she said, at the end of the day, we've all known obesity is harmful to people's health for years, and we believed there potentially was a link between obesity and deaths and severeness of COVID-19. But these numbers really drive it home. COVID has put obesity on the spotlight, and the numbers give it a perspective. Take a listen.
So if this is the case, I think this is enough. If this is the case, why should the rest of us suffer for people who are unwilling to take care of themselves? What's more humane, for people to do the right things for themselves and not expect for others to suffer the circumstances that they put themselves in? Is this survival of the fittest, or do we all suffer for the weakest amongst us? What is humanity supposed to be about? This is what I'm saying. So, okay, let me see if we can find these robots here. Killer robots, man. And this is what I'm talking about. What happens to humanity once we get to this? Now, watch this closely, people. I want you to watch this video closely because this is something that you have to be concerned about. You have to be concerned about. You cannot look at this and say that this robot, that what's going to be coming out of this you see this video, and I'm going to put this in the description too, man. Let me just grab this video up. Let me just grab this mug up right here. Put it in the description. I'm just gonna throw this up in like yeah. Robots of your future. That's what I'm gonna put. Robots of your future. Now, you can't tell me that this is gonna absolutely alter what humanity is or how, because these are going to be police officers of the future, police, military, anything like that, any authoritarian, security, all of that. They're going to take away all of these positions and give them to these robots. Now watch. Now don't tell me that you look at it the way that it's meant to be looked at. Look at how agile they are. Look at how small and compact they are. Look at what they do to this thing. Look at how well it functions. This is most incredible thing. Most incredible, man. Look at it. He don't drop the box. He holds on tight. He don't drop the box. He falls like a man. Look at him. Now I seen him fire weapons at this thing, man. I think this is the one from last week. Is this the one from last week? I'm not sure. Look how well it performs. It balances. I'm telling you. These will be the new police officers, military, security. They're going to guard your president. They're going to do all of that stuff. iRobot is coming, baby. Look at that shit. But you seen the reflexes of the robot. He caught the stick and pulled it away from him. Yeah, this is the one from last week. Bulletproof. He's bulletproof. He's busting shots. I don't know if those are live rounds or what, because I don't know. They might ricochet that close. I don't know if that's live rounds or what, but But just imagine something that's bulletproof, stronger than a man, far more durable than a man, and is able to move and function in this manner. Oh, Bumbleclot! Look at him. He got the gat. You can't tell me that that ain't dangerous right there. I don't know if this is fully functioning on its own, if he's got a pre-program to do what he's doing, or if they got somebody's off camera with a handheld control that's doing this. But no matter what, I don't know. I think this thing is free functioning the way it's supposed to. I think that there's something in there that they told it to do something for a certain amount of time and then go on about your business and hit them up for the next thing. But this is wild. Okay, so that's the end of that. We're gonna show y'all the other one. It was another one. I'm gonna see if I could find that one. Nah, it was. Oh, here it is. Oh, hold on. Whoa. Look at this. Look at him. You see how quickly he grabbed that gun? Tell me that this isn't going to be the next military, police. Look at this. You see what it says? What will humans do? AI robots take the control of the world. Look at that. He hit the target, dead center, jumping over the bow. Look at this. Look at this technology. We have to handle all AI technology very carefully. Look at this motherfucker. This is incredible. This is fucking incredible. Look at that shit. Look at that shit. You gonna tell me that if these guys are police, they're gonna give a fuck about getting injured when going into riot situations? No, people are gonna have to worry. These motherfuckers are just gonna barrel through, blasting, bucking, busting motherfuckers' head to the white meat. They're gonna just fuck motherfuckers up. I'm telling you, man. Look at this shit. Look at this shit. Look at how he jogged off of there. You seen how he just skipped away? Yo, man, there's nothing you could do. That's the future right there. Oh, did I miss that? Did y'all see that? I don't think y'all saw that. Let me see what I served. Oh, I don't think I showed anything. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, I don't think I'm showing it. I don't think I'll show. No, I think I missed the whole thing. Yeah. Yeah, I ain't showed nothing. Y'all missed the whole thing. All right. Let's see if I can show here. We're going to go back again. One more again. One more again. I forgot to share it. So here we go. We're going back one more again. We got to put the sound on. Now, this is the robot. Now, remember, again, I'm going to tell you, this is all about robots being police officers, robots being military, but mostly police officers. Police officers and people who are going to be security, dictating human or humanity. They're going to be governing humanity because that's the intentions. When you see this video, if you can't see them as police, then something's wrong with you. So take a look at this, people. Let's back this bad boy up. Now this is a video from this week, so we're gonna drop this. We're gonna drop this one in the we're gonna drop this in the motherfucker. We're gonna drop this in the description. Right, that's the second one. There's two videos. So we're gonna go back through and watch them. Might as well watch them both, right? Yeah. Let's watch it. Let's watch them the other way first.
This is what virtual care with doctors and therapists looks like with United Healthcare. And this is what walking your adorable...
We'll come back to that once the commercial is over. Just waiting for the commercial to go. All right, here we go. Get the sound on. Killer robot. Remember policing your ass. This is the one from last week. This is the one from last week. You see, just watch how agile they are, how precise they are, how durable they are. Perfect police officers. Perfect police, military. What chance does humanity have if we have a society governed by these things? No more police, no more human police officers, these things. Or there'll be police officers, but they're going to be surrounded by these things. Matter of fact, they don't even need police officers because if they give them voices and predetermined recordings and all of that to say, they don't even need that. They might have somebody back at the location, back at the precinct that will maybe connect to them to make sure that they're doing everything right. But other than that, put a camera on them, put a predetermined all of the stuff that police say to you, and that's it. This one doesn't have hands like the next one, but he still can grab shit. Yeah, I believe it falls intentionally. There's a whole act that they're working out with it that is supposed to stagger like this. It purposely stagger to show how human it can act. See? He blocks it, grabs it, and snatches it away. Tell me that he can't make a good police officer or some type of security. These types of things are going to be guarding the president, all types of stuff like that. All of these, they say that these guys are just going to be for difficult jobs, but no. They're going to be for everyday jobs because they're going to be very much better. Easy, the pay will be easier to maintain them than to pay salaries. And worry about psychological workups and all of that. You got to pay. So many people's jobs are going to disappear behind these types of police officers. You don't have to send them to get psychological workups. So there goes paying psychologists. You don't have to worry about DEA. Not DEA. Police corruption. So you get rid of that whole section of the police. I'm telling you, this is the future, and it's close. It's real close. That's all part of an act. I believe that this thing is programmed to act like this. Well, that goes without saying, right? Bulletproof. Like what I was saying before, I don't believe that they're firing actual rounds at them because at that close range, I don't know, they might catch a ricochet. I don't know. Killer robot, son. Look at him. He got the gas ready to take them all out, bro. Oh, look at that. See? That's what we're talking about, bro. That's what we're talking about, man. Here we go. Let's go with this one right here. That's what happens at the end. The robot is being trained for war. You still don't think that they can be police officers? He doesn't miss one shot. military you don't have to really worry about because we don't really fight military wars no more. Don't really do that. That's that type of military. This is police. I'm telling you. What will humans do if they start to fight back? Good fucking question. He hit that shot while jumping over the barrel. Robots will be Terminator. Robots will be Terminator. What we have to see in Terminator or Transformer movies. Robots will be Terminator. I must be reading this wrong because that sounds all fucked up. Robots will be Terminator. What we have seen in Terminator or Transformer movies. Okay. Whatever. Whatever. So you're seeing the durability. You're seeing the durability. So now they're trying to show you here that they won't fire on humans, but that's bullshit. They will definitely be programmed to fire on humans. Who else are they going to fire on? Other robots? What good is that going to do? They're going to be doing hand-to-hand or firing some super advanced weapons at other robots. But for humans with guns like this, yeah, they're being trained for human contact. We have to be careful for now. And we have to take this matter seriously. No shit. But they're making them. How do you talking about we got to take this matter seriously, but you're making them? Once you make them and they're already out there, you shouldn't be making them if you're going to take it serious. I don't know what the bees got to do with it. I don't know what that is. Like I say, this part has got to be an act. Because what the bees going to do to this thing? Problem solving. You see that they know problem solving. This is I'm telling you. These are you're going to have to be answering to in the future. You've seen them in movies like Total Recall and all kinds of things like that. iRobot, this is your future, and it's coming really soon. You could say maybe that's why they started this whole COVID shit, moving you into authoritarianism. That's going to be next. Why are we doing this COVID shit? Are we fucking do we owe so much money to China? Think about it. You see that shit? You see that shit? And then he skips his fucking ass away. You see that jump at the end? You see that shit? Come on, man. Wow. Come on, man. if that's not going to be the next police, if you don't think that that's going to be the next police force, I don't know what else there is. I don't know what else is there. So, I don't know, people. I don't know. You're going to have to figure that out for yourselves. Because what I saw, I'm seeing a lot of stuff, man. I believe I can fly. Believe that you can get high. I'm telling you, man. It's ridiculous. I believe. Yeah, man. I should have asked people to like the video from the beginning. Yeah, so what is humanity gonna be when those days come? Huh? When the police are turned over to the iRobots. Then what? What will people be expected to be then? How weak will humanity be forced to be? Yeah. So let's see if we can we got time for a little bit of something, some outer space shit. Let's see if we got time for that outer space stuff. Think about it and you gotta pay. Spread the wings and you get away. Spread the wings and then get away. That's a probe to the edge of the solar system. Ooh. The atom. What does the atom truly look like? I don't know if we ever did this one. Let's see what it says. Let's see what it says. We're going to find out what it says. I don't think I like that one. We'll look up something else. Maybe we'll look up what's going on with we'll go all the way to the Big Bang Theory. Big Bang Theory is always a good thing. Big Bang, the Big Bang. And hear the bullshit that they're gonna weave. How the world works. Let's see what they say. What triggered the Big Bang Theory? Okay. Hold on a second. Hold on. Let's see if we can get there. That's what I said.
To begin, at the beginning. No space, no time. Everything in the known universe compressed into a dot smaller than an atom.
Now, how do they know that? You're talking about billions of years ago, and this is all speculation. Now, let's see if we can hear them say anything that can either contradict what they say or, like, when they say what we know when we don't know anything. We don't know what happened, but what we know is those types of things.
Suddenly, out of this, the universe expands. Stars and galaxies form, creating the cosmos we see today. The story of our universe starts with a Big Bang, or does it?
Now he's questioning what he's saying. See, this is what makes you say they're full of shit. Makes me say that.
So the Big Bang is the observed truth, but there are details that haven't been quite worked out.
How could that be possible? You see the bullshit already? You see the bullshit? He says it's the observed truth. Now, is this observed mean that something that they witness? Or is just something that everybody seems to say, this is what we all agree upon? So this is what we observe to be the truth. They're not specifying. He's just leaving you out there with what some bullshit. But then he goes on to say how there are things that have not been worked out. Ain't none of it been worked out because they don't have any numbers that they can plug into this scenario that actually works because they don't know what went on.
There are a lot of things that may have happened. It's just one explanation.
You see, there's many things that may have happened, meaning they're all bullshit. They don't know what could have happened. They're all speculative horseshit. This is just one of the horseshit speculations that they pulled out their ass.
Science isn't about being right all the time. It's about...
You see? They're telling you they're full of shit. They're telling you they're full of shit. Science isn't about being right. It's about coming up with something that they can tell you to make themselves sound smart. But if it's bullshit, it's just bullshit. It's no more relevant than Black Panther and Wakanda to the real world. It's no more relevant.
Being wrong, and we could absolutely be wrong about a major component in our understanding of the universe.
We're putting one of science's greatest...
The universe. Be wrong about a It's about being wrong, and we could absolutely be wrong about a major component in our understanding of the universe.
We're putting one of science's greatest stories to the test.
Sure you are. How are you putting it to the test? How can you possibly put it to the test? Please explain.
Big Bang sure sounds like an explosion. But was it? An explosion is a sudden release of energy from one point, usually generating light, heat, pressure, and a bang.
But they can't speak to any of those. They can't speak to any of the things they just listed because they don't know what happened. They don't know if there was any heat. They don't know if anything expanded from one singular point. They don't know if there was a bang. They don't know if there was any of that light or whatever.
But did the Big Bang even explode?
When you hear the term bang, you think of a noise, but you have to realize that it's sound waves propagating through air. So after the Big Bang, there's no air. There was no air. There's no way to hear anything. So in that sense, it was silent.
So the Big Bang didn't bang. But to make the universe, it must have pushed out stuff. Lots of stuff. Every explosion has an ignition point.
What if things were already there, just needed to be activated? You know what I mean? Everything, all the chemical mixture was floating around out there. It just needed something to activate it. It activated and things started happening. They're talking really out of their ass. I love this stuff because I get a lot of my story ideas from this stuff, but they're just good stories. No more than the Bible.
What about the Big Bang?
So if you were to only think of the Big Bang as an explosion, you would very rightly ask, well, where's the center of that explosion? Where is the center of the universe?
That's what I've been asking. I've talked about this place before. Matter of fact, we're going to be visiting there in Might, the graphic novel, at some point in the future. We're going to be going to the center of the universe.
There was no central point. There's nowhere in the sky you can point and say that's where the Big Bang was.
The Big Bang is everything. The Big Bang happened here, where I'm sitting. The Big Bang happened on the other side of the planet. The Big Bang happened in the Andromeda Galaxy. The Big Bang occurred throughout the universe simultaneously.
During an explosion, debris fires out from the center. This debris spreads out unevenly, with different sized pieces landing at different distances from the blast center. But did the Big Bang shoot material out in this explosive manner? For clues, we need to search the night sky.
Oh, come on. That can't tell you shit.
One of the things that's really very striking about the universe when you simply take a telescope and start looking in different directions is that it, roughly speaking, looks the same in all directions.
Although the universe is peppered with individual galaxies and galaxy clusters, the big picture is what astronomers call homogeneous.
When we say the universe is homogeneous, it means it's almost exactly the same on very large scales with very, very little differences. It's perfectly smooth.
How could they say that? They don't know what's out there. They don't know what's out there. They're judging the light. What about all the shit they can't see?
If we believe the classic Big Bang story, the same amount of material was shot out over the same distance in all directions. Our smooth, homogeneous universe doesn't appear to be the result of what we know as an explosion.
It wasn't big, and it wasn't a bang. The Big Bang was not an explosion like a grenade or a bomb or dynamite where there is material.
It doesn't matter.
Rushing out from a common center.
It's not like there's a ring of galaxies that came out from some explosion.
A firecracker explosion is triggered by a fuse. So, what set off the Big Bang?
What I would say is there's no such thing as what triggered the Big Bang. You know, we tend to think when something happens, when there's an effect, there was a cause, right? There was something that made it happen. But here we're talking about the whole universe. There's nothing outside the universe to bring it into existence.
You don't know that. You don't know that. How could you speak so bluntly and so definitely, so distinctly about something you have no clue of? Come on, this is absolutely ridiculous for someone to say
there's nothing outside the universe to make something happen within the universe, to create the bang, create the initial ignition.
Come on, man. You don't know. You wasn't there. It's just, you're talking out your ass.
Science is clear. The universe did not start with an explosion. But if there was no bang, then how did everything start so small and get so big?
The young universe, we do understand.
You see? The young universe, we do understand. You don't understand shit. You don't understand shit.
In the old contemporary universe,
first of all, they said in the beginning the Big Bang is just one explanation. So how could he say that he understands? How could he say if he understands? If there's all of these different explanations, possible explanations for what happened, and the Big Bang is just one of them. He right now is talking about the Big Bang. So he's talking about a scenario stemming from this Big Bang theory. So everything he's saying right now pertains to his idea of the Big Bang and the young universe after the Big Bang supposedly takes place. This is what he's talking about. But it's all bullshit because they stated earlier that the Big Bang is just one possible theory. Possible, meaning it's bullshit.
We also understand. We've stitched together this story where we don't fully understand.
He stitched together a story where they don't understand at all. They don't understand whatsoever. They talk about we don't fully understand. No, they don't understand anything. They stitched together a story and they're trying to feed you this bullshit and have you accept this story. And the only way that they can do that is by telling it to you in this manner.
Understand the first few paragraphs of the story, but we know the rest of the book. Of the story, but we know the rest of the book. Story where we don't fully understand the first few paragraphs of the story, but we know the rest of the book.
The scenario is bullshit. The scenario is bullshit. You only know the last page of the book. They don't understand shit else. They only understand the last page of the book. They only understand what they can see now. Period. Since we started mapping the skies as far as what mankind has seen in the last few years, not even the last few hundred years, because that's not the same as looking through telescopes.
How can we get to the bottom of the Big Bang story when we can't even read the first page of the book?
You ain't read none of the book. You've only glanced at the back cover. Come on. They've only glanced at the back cover of the book. They don't understand none of it.
The only hope we have is to search back in time.
Now they're talking about back in time. You don't know what you're looking at. You don't know what you're looking at. You can't possibly tell me that you're looking out into this and talking about all the different things that exist out here, and you can say that you understand what you're seeing out here.
Line by line.
If you seen the last one where I think it was the week before or the week before that, where we did the heliopause, how do you know that you can see through all of that clearly? How do we know that we can see through all of that shit clearly, and none of that is that all of that what we claim to be looking through is not causing some kind of distortion, disruption, something? No, but they're saying we know this. We know it for a fact. Let's look through time because we can see light and it's going to tell us everything. No. You don't know what you're seeing. You don't know if that light is being manipulated. You could be seeing something that's totally different because it's coming through all of this vastness of you don't know what.
One of the amazing things about being a cosmologist is that
you get to talk shit and that you don't have a clue what you're talking about, and they pay you big bucks for it.
Telescopes are time machines.
No, they're not.
It takes a while for light to get here. So if we look farther out into space, we're really looking back into the history of the universe. And that's amazing.
And how could that possibly help? How could that possibly help? They claim it takes so many hundred light years for light to travel this distance to this distance, right? From here to here is hundreds of millions of light years away. Hundreds of billions of light years away, right? So, and It can't tell you shit. You're still only seeing a snapshot from now. You can't say that whatever you're looking at is from the past or is from the present.
The first clues to unraveling,
Even if it is from the past, say it takes light all that time, and so that image that you're looking at is from billions of years ago. Again, so, and on top of that, how does that help you in any way? See, the time that it would take you to observe enough of this past existence of light, so-called, you're not gaining anything in that time. You're not gaining anything. You're gaining absolutely nothing. All you're seeing is flashes of light here and there, and all you can say is, this is possibly this is possibly that. But you can't say for definite anything.
the Big Bang mystery came with the introduction of advanced telescopes in the 1920s.
Edwin Hubble was studying the light coming from distant galaxies. And what he realized was the more distant a galaxy was, the more reddened the light was.
The more reddened the light was. So what's that supposed to mean? How do you know what's causing that red? Not only that, I think that's bullshit too, because from what I understand, you don't see hues. All you see is light. You need something else to see hues. You have to look at it as some different, under some kind of different kind of lens. You just can't look at the light and see a different hue, this color and that color. From what I understand, the light has no color. You need some kind of Doppler shift, some kind of radar of some kind. And then how can you determine, if you're using a machine to determine this hue shift into the red, like what she's talking about, he didn't witness it with his naked eye. So if he's using some kind of machine or some kind of computer or some kind of filter, then how do you know what the filter is filtering out in order to see this red? How do you know what is causing an effect out there to create that red? You don't know. Anything can be creating that red.
Why should that be? Well, it turns out that light reddens if a galaxy is moving away from us. It's called the red shift. So what he discovered was pretty much every galaxy in the sky was moving directly away from the Milky Way.
Yeah, that's bullshit. Like again, I can say it again comfortably. You cannot say that because you don't know what's controlling the light out there. You don't know what's having an effect on the light out there. All you can say is that you see it happening with all of the things, but you don't know what's causing it, what's causing that shift.
This was truly one of science's landmark moments. Hubble had proved one of the basic principles of the Big Bang story. Our universe is continuously expanding.
And how did you figure? Didn't they say Andromeda is heading right towards us? Not everything is heading away. And if not everything is heading away from each other, that means some things could be going in opposite directions. You don't know what is going on out here. Have you ever seen dust particles floating around inside your, like you looking at a beam of light in your home, and you see in the beam of light a bunch of dust particles floating around? How do you know what, if you're one of those dust particles, how do you know what's floating where? And if it's in the room, it might look like it's floating away, but how do you know it's just not circulating around the room? We don't know what's happening, but they're talking as if they know what they're talking about. And I'm not saying they don't. I'm saying that the likeliness that they do is very slim, because how can they possibly determine what's going on out there when there's so much happening out there. There's radiation out there. There's all kinds of different types of particles flying around out there. There's ice cold. There's all types of heat. We don't know what's creating these effects. And if there's all of these heliopauses and helio this and all of these things around different stars, how do you know there's not something going on that's creating those shifts within those things itself, within those solar systems themselves, or within those galaxies or whatever? There's so many things to understand. They talk about dark energy and dark matter. All of this shit is out there. So how do you know what's causing what? You don't know if it's moving away is causing a shift, or if it's something else that's causing a shift. If it's billions of years away, billions of light years away, and it takes billions of years for that light to get here, how do you know what's creating that red shift, or what direction it's traveling in? Because that light ain't got here yet. You're just speculating. What if it's slowing down? What if it's because of it's passing through something? What if it takes billions of years, it's passing through some section of space, and it's creating a red shift with all of these stars because we can't see anything else? How do you know that it's not us? That's something in the heliopause is causing a filtration that makes it look like all of this shit is red. You know what I mean? You don't, anything, it can be anything, but they're talking to you like they know what they're saying.
There was only one conclusion to draw.
If you extrapolate that back in time, it looks like everything was coming from one point at one time. That's the Big Bang.
Yeah, he just said you see how they talk out of three sides of their ass? They said that the Big Bang didn't come from one spot. It happened all over the universe at the same time. So how could they now turn back and say that it's all coming from one place? Because everything is moving away, and the red shift. They said one thing earlier, but now they totally negate. They absolutely negate what they said, and they're not going back to it. They're not saying, "Well, we realize we told you that there's that it happened everywhere at the same time. It happened everywhere at the same time, but now we're saying it happened. It's all coming from one point." You see how they're talking out of both sides of their ass? They're not saying the truth. It's a lie. Everything in what they're saying is stabs what they just got finished saying in the back. Because it makes no sense. Oh, I pressed the wrong thing. Sorry about that. Let me get back to that. Put that back on. Booyah shaka. And here we go. Oh, I forgot to hit the share. Okay, there we go. And here we go.
Hubble's discovery grabbed the headlines, but the idea of an expanding universe had been proposed 2 years earlier by a Belgian priest and physicist.
The real idea of the Big Bang comes from Georges Lemaitre. He realized that if you ran time backwards, back to the beginning of time, maybe everything coalesced into a single atom, the primeval atom.
Maybe. You see how they say maybe? How could what you're saying be maybe, but then you're telling everybody this is what happened? No, you can't have maybe and then be definite at the same time. This is being right and wrong at the same time.
Lemaitre believed the infant universe was extremely small and dense, squeezed into a single point. primeval atom.
Now I understand what they're saying. They're saying that all of this was happening. This is all the universe. And so it all expanded and everything happened all at once within the whole entirety of the universe. So as all of this was happening within the universe, this whole thing is expanding and everything is expanding out with it at the same time. If you get my drift.
Later, scientists would define this point as an infinite entity called a singularity. But there's a problem.
Of course there's a problem, because y'all don't know what you're talking about.
The singularity and the laws of physics don't mix. It may be one infinitely small point, but it causes some impossibly big problems.
Welcome to Allstate, where everything just seems to go your way.
Just mute that. I don't know. You can't skip it. Oh, that's the end of that. That's the end of that. That's the time. Anyway, you're going to have to get up out of here. I got to go over and check out Dan Frager. Got to check out Frager Fragtober. So I'm a little late on that, but that's what we have for this week. Yeah, so what's humanity, man? What's humanity gonna be? And remember, man, if you still holding on to the Matrix, if you're still attached to the Matrix, you're a possible agent. So watch out, man. Don't question everything. Don't just accept everything as being the truth, because everything is fake. Everything is made up. No matter if it's a chair, as solid as a chair, it's still made up. Something that we pulled out of our mind and made real. Even though it might have substance, it's still fake. But what's even more fake is the things without substance, and that's a hell of a lot. So, all right, people, I'm out of here. And remember that I said, don't be an agent.